Hey, I'm Tom.
And I'm John.
And we're the co-founders of Handsome Frank Illustration Agency.
In this series, we'll be sitting down and talking to our illustrators, finding out more about them, their artistic process, and the creative industry we work in.
Welcome to our podcast. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Handsome Frank podcast. Today we are in not so sunny Saffron Walden.
Got down here today to sit down and have a chat and a couple of glasses of wine with Michelle Thompson.
I'm really, really bad at drinking in the day, and I've just recorded the podcast and I had a glass of wine, stood up, and I feel very lightheaded.
Well, it is Friday, Tom.
I am a massive lightweight. I always have been, and I think I always will.
But no, we've just had a really nice conversation with Michelle and kind of looked back on 10 years of working together, her 25-year career, which is, I think it was really interesting because she's done so many things. It's gone in different directions, and she has a real kind of mix of ways that she's kind of earned a living as an artist.
I think also what kind of stood out to me is that she still loves what she does. You know, that she's not jaded at all, which is really, really nice to see. Yeah,
so hopefully you'll all enjoy this chat, and thank you for everyone who sent us questions on Instagram before the podcast. We did put those to Michelle as well. So here we go.
Enjoy, guys. Welcome. Hello, Michelle.
Hi.
How are you? You love podcasts, don't you?
Yes.
We're with Michelle Thompson today, a very reluctant podcast victim.
Victim, is that?
With wine.
Yes, but you've given us wine, which is good. And we've just taken the train to Saffron Walden in the countryside.
So, we've just had a house tour because Michelle recently moved house. Well, fairly recently, was it?
2 years.
2 years ago. And had a good look round, and now we sat down with a couple of glasses of wine Friday afternoon with a list of topics to chat through. But how have you been?
Good. Busy.
Yeah, I know.
We've had loads of work, haven't we?
Yeah, it's been really nice. Really good and busy.
We've been having Zooms with Tom nearly 3 times a week or something ridiculous, haven't we?
And some of those Zooms have been quite interesting in the briefing and the information that's going across, and the kind of slight tension between some clients who maybe don't like each other.
Yeah, I know exactly.
But we're not going to name names.
No names mentioned. No. I guess that with lots that we want to talk about today, it makes sense, I guess, to start with the start of your career, I guess, which would be Norwich School of Art.
Yeah.
First of all, tell me how you sort of ended up there, and what your sort of journey into going to art school was.
From school, I always knew, I thought I wanted to be a graphic designer. So I went to Wisbeach. No one ever hears that. So I went when I was 16. I thought there was a girl ahead of me who went there. So I went and did a BTEC. So I never did A-levels, went straight into it and did graphics. And then I went on to Norwich with Robert Mason, and that was brilliant. And I'm still in touch with all the tutors there. And then I applied to the Royal College. Yeah,
Royal College of Art. You're actually one of 2 Royal College of Art graduates on our books. Nice. Do you know who the other one is?
No.
Jean-Julien.
Oh.
I think it's just the 2 of you. I think it's just 2. What was that like?
That was hard because I didn't really know what I was doing, and I struggled a bit. But Dan Fern, he does collage work, and he said, he showed me some work, and then I started looking at more abstract artists, and started doing the collage.
So that was an MA?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So
back then, was that collage actually cutting stuff out? Any computers involved at that stage?
No.
Old school.
Yeah,
Nice.
because I was old. And then Vaughan Oliver from 4AD came to the degree show, but it was a football, like a Euro final or something like that. So nobody was at the show. We were all in the bar.
So what year was this?
96.
So it would have been Euro 96.
Isn't it? I know nothing about football. That's a pretty...
That was, for non-footballing listeners, that was a pretty big day in London, I would say.
So I had, when I came back for my like final year of 2 years from the bar, there was a little note from Vaughan Oliver, which I haven't got, saying, "I really love your work, come and see me."
Wow.
So my first sort of commission was to go down to their place in Wandsworth, I think it was, and he wasn't there.
Oh.
Because he was in the pub. So I stood there waiting, and someone from the other office said, "Oh, they're all down the pub." So I went down the pub, and they were all there, and it was Chris Big and Christian. I'm rubbish with names now. And I was briefed on the back of their bar receipt.
Wow.
And I did I did a CD cover for them, and then my folder went off to Milan for an Aspesi, I think it's what it's called, a billboard fashion campaign.
Okay.
And they made me do collages at the weekend, and they photoshopped the clothes and photos on the top, which was then when and Vaughan never used the computer either.
And what is your non-computer process? Like, how big are the collages?
Well, I don't do that anymore. So literally,
yeah.
so
But
back then, he just said, "Can you do me?" I think I had to do 4 A3 collages and take them. So at that time, you had to run down and take everything, or a courier would come. In the olden days,
Physical
yeah,
artwork.
They'll literally jump on the tube and run down to Random House or something like that. And then they put that. So then it's in Vaughan Oliver's book. And so that was when I started to think, hold on, I could be doing that. And then Gareth, my partner, he was the year below me doing graphics. And so he then got a computer, and then I started to learn how to do it.
To embrace that. So was that your first commercial project, straight in working for Vaughan Oliver?
So that was happening straight after, but my first proper commission was with Suzanne Dean for Random House.
Yeah, she's still there, I think.
Yeah, with the glasses. And then I had lots with, I'm so rubbish at names, but William and Nathan at Bloomsbury. So then I did, because it was quite abstract and collage, it was really good for book jackets, and lots of people would put their texts or type and stuff and photos on the top. So a lot of the work was book jackets, and then Mike Lackerstein at Esterson and Lackerstein let me do my first digital piece. So Gareth kind of helped me, and it was a strange one, but then that was the start of learning how to do it. And then I went and did a computer course down in Peckham.
Nice.
Yeah, it was very nice. So that was how I...
So going back a little bit, how did you kind of hit upon collage as the medium, and what were you doing before that, and what led you into deciding on that?
I can't draw.
Guilty confession.
Yeah, I
of an illustrator.
really can't draw. And then I was looking at Joseph Beuys, Rauschenberg, Motherwell, and all those kind of artists, and thought, well, that's what I want to do. And then Dan Fern, if you look at his work, was all collage, and I thought, he'd made a career of doing that. It was just, I don't know, I think he kind of helped me go in that direction. And then it took off, and then as I started using the computer, and then once I can remember Tom saying to me, "If you would just try and use some contemporary images," and I was like, "What the fuck?" It's just like, but then that was the start.
I think I say that to every single collage.
Yeah, but it did. I didn't do it immediately. It came, and then we've had.
But this is the thing with collage, and I guess illustration in general, is that collage does kind of span the art world, as in, it's something nice to hang on the wall, and also the commercial side of stuff, which is obviously what we deal in. But my kind of thought process around that is that if you want to do a billboard or something
Yeah.
like that, they're going to want to have a more modern look. Let's say they went and did a photo shoot and then they'll put that character in. So it's the kind of what you're really good at is being able to do both.
So it did take off when you said all that.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
So to backtrack a little bit, I think we've been working together for 10 years.
Yeah, definitely. It's a long time.
And I remember, I think you sent us an email and said,
Yeah.
can't
Can't we pretend that you hunted me?
we hunted you down? But did you? Because you had
I was
an agent before, or no names?
Yeah.
But I remember you got in touch, and in all honesty, I don't think we had. I don't know. At the time, I guess we hadn't particularly thought about or looked at many collage artists. But there was something about your work that instantly both of us said, yeah, we should definitely try this and speak to Michelle. But it's really changed over those 10 years. And I think initially there was a lot of editorial work.
Yeah.
And that's still happening, but it seems to have kind of evolved in terms of the areas you work in.
Yeah, no, I mean, that I sometimes feel there are illustrators that are quite close to my work.
Yeah.
But I'm realising that I'm moving along, I think, quite quickly, and that, they might be doing something similar to me, but it's not where I'm heading. So I've kind of got, I'm
You're
not
one step ahead. Yeah, I like that.
I just think, I always, I show with the Liberty Gallery at the art fairs, that is, like I like doing the collage. I like doing it all, basically. I like sitting down and doing an evening standard, but I like it at the weekend when I can get the collage out. I couldn't do the collage for the commissioned work. I couldn't be quick enough.
But is it a kind of a conscious decision to say, all right, I'm going to try something a bit different with this one, or you're kind of
it all
pushing your
feeds
style?
off each other. So I've done quite a few for the evening standard where I've secretly thought this would sell. This would sell as a print, or things like that. Or I just need to change that for a few bits and that will work for something else. But so sometimes I think, maybe I don't need to do it. And Gav would say, because I love the deadlines and all the different subjects coming in. And I think that they work together. And often, like you saw the paper upstairs, often that stuff sits there and I don't know what I'm doing with it. And then a job comes, and I have to turn it around so quickly that I'll just quickly go and scan that, and I think, that was lucky, wasn't it? I've just done a piece. So I did one for the Evening Standard a couple of weeks ago, and I'd already scanned loads of nudes and female bodies, and then a job came up for it. So I was like, that was handy.
But that's that old adage that, a piece of work might take you a certain amount of time, but actually it's been 20 years in the making. Because
25.
There you go, you've been...
Old.
But you've been kind of seeing all of this content and squirreling it away and putting it to one side, and it's obviously all there in your head.
Yeah.
So that when you need it, you can access it.
So have you got a folder on your hard drive just full of kind of cutouts?
No.
All right.
So I would like a person to... I keep saying to my kids, can you learn how to do Photoshop? Because when we get some of those jobs in, and I cut it out roughly to begin with, and then it gets approved, and then I'm like, oh my God, it's going to take me days to cut those out.
Yeah.
So I would like a small person, maybe a ginger one, to come and sit next to me.
Just to be clear, Michelle's describing her son here.
To come and cut it out for me, because that is the problem. But then I've had a few jobs where it's all been cut out, so that's been quite good.
And you also, you just showed us around your lovely house, but there was a cupboard full of magazines and cutouts.
Yeah, so there's
a lot in there.
Yeah, there's there's like 27 years worth of collage, but I couldn't do a collage for an editorial because it literally would take me, I could keep going through those 2 boxes upstairs, and it could take me a day to go through them, and I'll find things I don't even know that I have. But there is an illustrator, Martin O'Neill, who I absolutely love, and he's so organised, and he's got little drawers with people and houses. And,
I think I've seen that.
Yeah, that's just not me.
So you're not that kind of person.
No.
But where do you find... Do you buy old magazines online, or do you go and hunt them out in person? Where do you go to?
Saffron Walden's full of charity
Is that why you live here?
Yeah, and it used to be easier. I recently I started, like lockdown was a problem, so I had to start looking on eBay, and people have got wise, and there was one book that someone had tore all the pages out and was selling each page for
Page by
£13.
page. Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just lots of old book jackets and things like
And
that.
are there any sort of go-to publications that
Well, Life.
I was going to say Life magazine is probably one of them. Yeah.
And is it Women and Home or Women in Home, and those type of ones. But and also all the book jackets that you get in the 99p, the I don't know the Pelican ones or the Penguin ones, all those. They used to have the graphics on as well.
Yeah.
But also for every single job I ever start, I have one book jacket that I like. So I just start the job and then I just pull it in. So that's always the base for everyone.
The template almost.
Yeah. So it won't. So it's just not working on white. It's just like a old vintage book cover, and then the layers will go on the top of that. So.
How many scanners have you broken over the years?
This is the bit where I probably shouldn't say that. I have got to the point where I would photograph.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because
you don't get that, is it Moire?
Yeah. So many problems with blooming Epson scanners and things like that. And as you know, I'm not very technical anyway, so it's just like...
So good smartphone, good light, and you just photograph it.
And because I'm going to play around with it anyway, so I'll just be quick with it.
Wow, so that's quite a game changer as well.
Yeah. Yeah,
top
someone said, "What couldn't you live without?" And it would be my phone now.
Do you go? Because I do this because I download stuff for Handsome Frank Instagram posts, and then my phone gets full, so I have to go through and delete everything.
Not at the moment, but I did do that before. But this time I paid for the most expensive phone I could get because it's just not worth it. And I just got a new computer, and I was like, right, I'll have everything this time.
Yeah. Because
I don't back up, so.
Oh, that's the dangerous territory.
That's why there's two computers up there.
I mean, over the 11 years we've been running, we know a few bad endings with not backing up.
Do you? Well, it's on...
it's on the cloud.
It's the Time Machine,
and
it's on things like that. But so Gareth will burn everything onto a CD and stuff like that.
I'm a bit obsessive about backing stuff up, or photographs, and to the point where when my parents come to visit, I'm like, "Oh, Mum, can you bring that hard drive that I leave at your house?" Yeah, because we know two illustrators who have the work has succumbed to fire.
I know. I did think about getting one of those fireproof, get little bags that you
safe.
I don't know. I just there was sorry, we're going totally off piece there, but there was a blog a couple of years ago, and the guy went round and went to a house and said, right, if there was a fire in your house right now, what would you grab to keep? And the things that they always kept were like the photographs of the children, stuff like that. For me, I would just grab the two hard drives that are on my desk, because they just
not
contain...
your baby.
Well, I mean, of course, maybe the baby could hold one of the hard drives. But yeah, there's just for me that's just.
I've done so much work though that I would sometimes find a piece of work, like I might Google myself sometimes, and I would be like, who's copied me? And it's actually I've done it, and I don't even recognise it.
So how many? I mean,
25 years of work.
So out of all of our illustrators, I would say jobs per year, you probably do the highest.
I don't. Yeah.
Have you got any idea how many jobs you do? Because then you got your print sales, which is very, very popular. Do you know how many prints you sell a year?
Lockdown was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't.
In the hundreds though.
Yeah.
And are you one of these people that then go to the post office and queue with like 1,000 tubes and wait, like the grannies waiting behind you?
It wasn't ever. It was. I like to pack them flat anyway.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've been the grateful recipient of Michelle flat print, which is because when they come out in the tube, it's a nightmare.
Oh my god, yeah. And also because the person will take it out the tube and then try and put it back in, and they'll scuff it and then go, "Oh, but when I took it out," and I was like, no. But yeah.
But there is because I guess without talking figures, your income is, I guess, quite split between actually selling prints, selling originals, doing art fairs. commercial projects with us. How does that? What's the kind of split? Do you know roughly?
So before lockdown, it would have been mainly editorial and illustration, and then during lockdown, that just completely went the other way, and I was like, oh my god! So I sent stuff to influencers on Instagram and stuff because I panicked because for the first time ever I didn't have any work for like 3 weeks, and I suddenly thought, oh my god, I've never had this feeling like what's going to happen now?
I think everyone was in that boat.
So I just sent all this stuff out, and that really took off with Lisa Dawson and Erica Davis, and that I sold editions out which I'd never done before, so that went really well. And then lockdown finished, and then we've just had loads of work, haven't we?
Yeah.
So it always works. I'm always working.
Find a way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've always found collage in the commercial world quite interesting. It kind of it gets super popular for, let's say, a year, and then kind of drops down and then gets really popular again. It's always there in the kind of editorial world, in the publishing world, but in terms of advertising, billboards, packaging, stuff like that, this year in particular has been a really good year for collage, which is great.
Yeah.
But you must have seen that cycle come around a few times.
Yeah, but also because having kids as well, you're always busy anyway. So sometimes, I suppose if I was to put down my accounts, then I could see that happening. But I feel like I'm always busy anyway.
Yeah.
So I probably wouldn't notice it as much. But I mean, definitely this summer we've had a brilliant.
Yeah, I think so. There's some stuff that's not come out yet that hopefully we can share in the coming months. But it's fair.
Is that a warning shot?
No. But it's fair to say that there's been more packaging and advertising commissions for you probably in the past 6 months.
TV.
TV stuff.
Yeah. Did you see your billboard?
No, they sent me all the photos though.
Okay, so
I don't leave the house.
Yeah, I was in where was I? Devon at the time it came out, and I don't think Channel 4 were advertising much in Devon. So I never got to see the billboards, but I was really hoping to, because I bet they were everywhere in London.
Oh yeah, I even had people in Bristol and stuff saying,
really?
but because they're on those digital,
revolving,
they were like, I saw it, and by the time I took a picture,
it disappeared.
But I'll get them for the website.
But I think in the past 6 months we've worked with Channel 4 Creative, Sky Creative, and Apple,
all at the same time,
and all for TV. So I think that says a lot about where the TV streaming sector is at the moment, and the fact they're all competing. But I found it really interesting that they're all using collage to advertise programs at the moment, and hopefully that's a trend that's here to stay.
Yeah.
But that's also that nice example of them. So, for example, with the Channel 4, they'd obviously done their photo shoot with the lead actors, given you those photographs, and then they're asking you to work them into a kind of collage layout. That for me that's the completely different look and feel to your work to the stuff where you're kind of taking old magazines and mixing that together. So it's really interesting to kind of see the two avenues it can take.
I think it started. We got more work when we did the ones for the Canadian. Is it Sterling?
I can't remember.
We did these for this redevelopment
in Australia,
Canada, Toronto.
Nearly.
And so they provided. So that's been.
So
happening
they did
a lot.
the photo shoot.
Yeah, they did sent over all the photos, and we just had to put it together.
Yes. Oh, was that when I sent my mean email saying I wish you'd have done this sooner? I didn't know it wasn't me.
No.
I think you said to me like, "Oh, you told me I should have done this like 5 years ago."
we got work from that because then they went on the website, and so.
And do you watch all the TV shows that you work on?
Well, Deceit, yes.
Deceit I've not seen. Is that?
No, so at the beginning I made everyone watch it, and then everyone.
Because they sent us all the files and we transferred.
Yeah, so we'd watch.
Really.
So
really
my handwriting's on it as
Yeah.
well, and so I started watching that one. And thought, it's too slow, and I've made everyone watch it.
This isn't what the advertising campaign
No,
promised me.
No. But it was absolutely brilliant. It was really good. But I didn't watch the Sky one.
I've seen that. I've been watching.
Oh, that one. That's the Apple one.
Yeah, sorry, the Apple one. Yeah. That's a good program.
Oh yeah, we need to watch that then. Yeah, that was an interesting one because we had all the security, which was a new thing. So I had to have a special meeting about. That's the dog.
Yeah, that was a dog, by the way.
Yeah, so we had to have a meeting about how to. So this has been the new thing, isn't it, for me? In lockdown, one, seeing Tom all the time.
on Zoom.
And everyone commenting on our houses behind us, isn't it? We like to make an effort, don't we?
Yeah, it's all about the Zoom background.
And then also having to send files through different servers. And
so a lot of clients now are insisting that you use their specific programs and software to upload. But it's certainly a trend that we're seeing, that clients are specifying exactly how you upload files, which is fairly new. I'd say we weren't really doing that 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's because these massive companies, there's all this security protocol. Yeah. They employ someone who writes, is legislation the right word? But they write, best practices for their enormous business about what they should do. So we had one,
but it was like, if someone walks in the room, turn your computer off, close your curtains.
It's top secret stuff. Yeah, it is. I think things are changing, and NDAs have become a lot more prevalent. So yeah, it's shifting all the time.
And you guys do have to do all these contracts, which take time, don't they?
Yep, a lot of contract reading.
It's really fun.
That's the fun part of the job. But no, yeah, that's increasingly, I guess, the world we're living in. So here we are. One thing I wanted to talk to you about a little bit, because I know you've sort of embraced it, is NFTs. And obviously there's been a whole conversation raging about them and what they mean and sort of the ethical side of it, whether it's good or bad. And I'm not really too interested in asking about that. I'm quite interested in your experience really, and what you've done so far and how that's been and where it's taken you.
So you wrote that brilliant article.
Yeah,
which I read.
Design Week asked me to write about NFTs before anyone really fully understood it.
I don't think anyone still understands it.
I think we're all in the dark. But you've kind of embraced it. So how's that gone?
It's great. I've found like a community of collage artists, so that's been really good. And also, like I said about Instagram, we were talking before, weren't we? Instagram, the engagement kind of isn't there after lockdown, so it was really good, and then it just sort of stopped. And so then I moved over to Twitter, and it's just a really nice community, and it gives me the chance to do that artwork. So all the time with commissioned work, I'm working with other people's photos, and I found a home for the stuff that I wanted to do, and for some really strange stuff that I do that I wasn't quite sure where that fitted, and with NFTs it did. So I started off with the clean Tezos on Hickonock, and that was good. And and now I've got friends in India, Netherlands, Turkey.
Can you describe what the clean? I haven't seen any of this. So can you describe what the clean Tezos is?
Oh my God, this is from the technical side. So, it's all on the blockchain. So with Ethereum, so it's just really crazy that I've got crypto money and I've got ledgers, and suddenly my whole life's just a bit weird. But so all my work is always like the digital work. It's just sat there not doing anything. So you sell it as one of ones.
So you mint it.
Yeah, you mint it, and you with Ethereum you pay gas, and the gas is really high. So you're constantly playing a game with those type of NFTs where the gas is too high, or Ethereum's the price. Literally the price of Ethereum goes up and down like within minutes. So your portfolio, it can be high and then it can go down immediately. But once you've been doing it a while, you kind of just wait for the next one to come up. So it's interesting. With Hickonock, you don't pay gas, so it's really affordable. So there's so many artists coming from Indonesia and Thailand and countries where they couldn't afford to mint their work, because minting your work can cost anything from $90 upwards. So I don't know. I've been doing it 6 months. I wasted a bit of money at the beginning because I didn't really understand it. But I think if anyone's interested, you just need to look at it. You need to research where you want to sit, who you want to be with, what type of work you want to show. But it's all around Twitter.
And do you know who's buying your work?
Yeah.
And they're collectors that come back to you. Is it sort of repeat business, or is it tend to be one-offs?
I've had, I've got a few collectors that are buying again and again. But for me, the best thing is that artists buy from you. So at the beginning, all I wanted was one of these. They call them like the whales. So the whales will come and sweep everything and buy all the. There can be a lot of money in it. And I just wanted them to buy my work. But then I realised that actually, I want, for an artist to buy your work, it's really nice because then they really appreciate your work. And then the thing is not to then take all your money out, it's then you support.
Well, I was going to say, are you buying art as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So especially on Hickonock, I've got loads of amazing, beautiful work. Ethereum, I'll probably confess, is a lot of collectibles.
Yeah.
Because that's how.
But it's really interesting that you really jumped into this.
I know.
Because I think we had a couple of conversations.
I know.
And you just said, I'm gonna go for it.
I hid it for a while because I thought, oh God, this is
kind of... Have you had any sort of negative comments or?
My friends think I'm fucking crazy. I think Gareth's had enough of listening to me. But once you can actually sort of say, well, I sold this and I got this, there's...
Well, it's a economic transfer.
So, it's just different. I mean, I sold something yesterday I from another artist. And that's kind of fun because then you're like a trader. So that was, I don't know, it was funny. So I made money from buying someone's work that I really liked. And I had friends like, I don't really like that. And then she did really well. And then I sold it for a lot more money. So it's interesting.
Yeah, I think it's, like I say, I was asked to comment on the trend quite early on.
It was different then, though.
Yeah, and I then sort of did a bit of research myself. I've got a friend who's a economics professor, and I've got a friend who works in blockchain. And it was interesting speaking to them and hearing their opinion about it, and not just hearing the very niche voice of the art world talking about it.
So I think when I jumped into it, so I did it, you wrote the article and Beeple had sold that one for 69 million. And suddenly Ethereum went up and everyone jumped into it thinking we were all going to make a fortune. And there were some collage artists that I know, not UK ones, and they sold high. But I came in too late. So for me, it kind of worked because you have to start. I did feel a bit like, don't you know who I am? And it's like, no.
But it's the same, I guess, when a new social media platform starts. You start from scratch. Yeah. Everyone starts from square one. So in some ways, it doesn't matter if you've been doing this for 25 years.
No, exactly. They don't care. And the problem is that the people that sold at the top, then when we had a bear market and stuff like that, they just don't sell because their work was too high and people had lost money on it. So anyway.
I have to say, I haven't researched the NFTs too much because I know John has, so I've just been sort of relying on him. But there's so many keywords there that I just have no idea.
I know, Gareth says I'm doing it to show.
For all the listeners listening who know nothing about NFTs like me, I feel like, listening into two teenagers talking about a new game or something, and I've got no idea what any of it means. Like when I taught my mum how to use a computer in the 90s and she's just there like, what? That's how.
Well, that's what I'm like with my blooming computer. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's funny. But the thing is there is a community. I have a group of friends. I'm on Telegram. Which was like, that was...
Check you out.
Yeah, I know! And Discord, and my kids are going, Mum, what are you doing?
But I think it's just another testament to the fact that you've taken all these kind of revenue streams.
Well, am I allowed to... because I like money.
Okay, that's good.
That's allowed.
That's a good motivator.
But it always has been anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like you... would say that you're not kind of technology au fait, but you sound like you really are in some regards.
Well, everyone does help everyone out, and you do learn about it. But
I mean, I think that's, I often think back to when we started out, and we were very much kind of outsiders for the illustration world, and we turned up on Twitter and everyone was so welcoming, and I think Twitter was a slightly different place then, but if you had a question you just asked it, and people generally would answer you and help you, and that's a really nice place to be. So I guess from a kind of community network point of view, that must be quite...
And so I got a group of people that were doing collage, and last night, like you start to get networks and stuff like that. So now I'm going to curate a show, and we've got a little group, NFT Collage Collective, and I'm really into that. So it's quite interesting. So they're all different, some people, there are lots of artists that aren't from an art background and have just started doing it, and it doesn't mean that they're any better or worse, so it's quite interesting. But yeah. Exciting.
So we asked on Instagram for questions to ask you, and we had a few.
I want to know who.
Well, we had a couple of Handsome Frank artists. Matt Murphy, and I misread this at first. I thought he asked, "How do you sleep?" as if there's
on our side.
What as if you got some dark secret? Like how can you even sleep? But I reread it. He said, "When do you sleep?" And I guess this is a reference to the fact that if you follow Michelle on social media, she's always doing something.
Hustling.
Well, you're incredibly productive in terms of a work sense. You always seem to be off running or with a dog or with your children. So, I guess it's really a question about work-life balance and how you fit it all in.
Yeah, I don't... I work all the time. I always have done.
Is that a kind of a mentality that you were brought up with, like from your parents, or?
Oh yeah, and then we'll go down the rabbit hole.
Working
class and
welcome to Handsome Frank therapy.
I always try. I did this with Emily as well. I try and go down some.
Well, I always say complex. I'm working class, and everyone goes, "You're not." I go, "I am," like that. I don't know. I'm quite ambitious. I always have been. I don't know. I enjoy
being busy.
And being paid as well.
You strike me as someone that doesn't hold, which I think is a good thing, but you don't tend to do sort of regular hours. You'll work late if you have to.
All the time. Yeah. Although Gareth will say I'm really crap starting.
Yeah.
Because I'll.
He's already mentioned that.
Has he? He's such. I can't believe that. So I'll walk the dog, and then I'll go on the treadmill, and then walking, I might add, not even running, and then I'll have my breakfast. So sometimes I'm a night person anyway. So.
Yeah, I've noticed, because we've worked on a few projects where emails come.
Yeah, so but it works when we're working in America. So
West Coast.
Yeah, it was just like all the stuff comes in, and the kids are older. The kids basically don't want us anymore, so. I mean, I try and cook a really bad dinner in between, and then I like working.
So how old are your children?
17 and coming up to 15.
Okay, so they're pretty self-sufficient.
Yeah. So they'll just, they'll come in, they just need feeding basically.
And this is my question. If you had a day where there was no children, no deadlines, the dog was somewhere else.
I would be in the studio.
Oh, really?
Absolutely.
Do you ever go on a beach holiday? And do you just sit on the beach like...
it was years before we ever went on holiday.
Yeah.
Because I would say, I've got debts.
But can you sit still? And just not do anything?
Not here, but I could if I was on holiday.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not very good at relaxing. But, I don't know. I just like working. Yeah, because one of the kids said, "What's your favourite place?" And I'll be like, "Here,
home,
in my studio." Yeah, I don't. They always laugh at all my friends laugh.
That's
like,
good.
It's a bit boring.
I know that. I mean, right. So I come the weekend. I don't like being at home. I like to get out and do something. Maybe that's because I work from home all the time in the week. But I quite often, if I'm at home, I get really like. Edgy.
Oh really? I just so Gareth will take Felix to rugby. August has got a job now, and I'll just he'll the gaffer will take the dog. That's just brilliant. I'll
Yeah.
just go upstairs. But because
Having the house to yourself.
yeah, because of all the deadlines as well, I know on Saturday I'm not going to get any emails, so I can just do my own work. But it will take me about 4 hours to get going. And then, so I really like a Sunday night. So I would like, so this weekend was crazy, and I had the New Statesman and an Evening Standard. And I know that I can kind of tidy the house and do all the things I need to do. And then I can work in the evening, and that.
I have a guilty secret. I quite like a little Sunday night poke in my emails because I feel like I get a head start on Monday somehow.
Yeah. I mean, if I leave anything, then it's just, there's always something coming up. We're just having jobs come in, aren't we? And it's just like, if I don't get ahead on the job, then another one's going to come in. So, yeah.
So another question, another Handsome Frank question. Andrew Joyce says, we kind of covered this, but do you have images in waiting that you really want to use and you're just waiting for the right brief?
Well, no, because I would never be able to find them.
If you were more organised.
If I was organised, yes. If I was Martin O'Neill, yes, I'd open that drawer. No, the things I want to use are gathering dust on that table, and then I might scan them in. But I use layers from other pieces and things like that. And also I have jobs that haven't gone through, but I could use some of those, there's a lot of layers there.
And then we have a question about copyright, saying, what do you do about copyright for images to use in your collages?
Yeah, so I have my own Shutterstock account, and I was laughing thinking you would ask this, and maybe at the beginning, 25 years ago, I may have used something where it might have made me shudder a bit, thinking, I wonder if I get away with using that.
Yeah, I think you have to be very careful.
Yeah, and now it's just like, it's easier just to pay. I pay £70 a month, and then we get all the folders with all the work in anyway. So a lot of the time I just get images. And with the Evening Standard, they're using Getty for all the political stuff. So I would just cut it out, and then they'll
So
over.
If you're working with somebody like the Evening Standard who you work with every week, is it?
Not really, but sometimes.
On a regular basis?
Yeah.
So they will essentially give you the keys to their resource and you can...
No, they'll just give it, they have a picture researcher,
Okay,
because they were so quick, and they'll just go, oh, Nicole will get you this, and she'll get me 5, and then we'll work out which one fits.
Okay, so you pick one.
Yeah.
And away you go. And a lot of your work is political.
Yeah.
Or certainly to do with the news cycle. And do you have to like listen to the news or are you oblivious to the news cycle?
We have one that we had a job the other week, and I just went, you are really going to have to dumb it down for me, because I just read it so many times and I didn't understand it. I mean, obviously
That was complicated.
Yeah, it was.
I don't want to mention who it was for.
No.
Yeah, that I think we said on that briefing, we were like, could you just
God.
summarise in like 3 bullet points what visual things you want in this collage?
And my job is to answer a brief, and I'm really, really happy. So I've just done, I think it was 10 illustrations for The Economist this week with Gary, and he'll send me a PDF back, and he'll say, change that, can you turn that colour, and he goes, I'm really sorry. And I went, that's what I want, you know, I just... it is a job. I want you to be happy. I want to do this quickly. I don't want to do that thing where we don't really know what we want. Oh, we don't want that. It's an open brief, and it never is.
So you prefer a prescriptive art director?
Can I just ask that about briefs? Well, this year so we've had a few jobs briefed in, and the brief has kind of been non-existent. And you'll be on a call with the client, who we're not going to mention any names, but you're on a call and they're trying to brief Michelle in, and you're at the end of the call, you're just like, that we're no clearer whatsoever what's going to happen. So my kind of question is, do you think the kind of quality of briefs over the years has declined? Like, the kind of the skill of being able to brief someone in?
I don't know.
Because I think you're very good at being able to take even the woolliest brief and put something together. Did
that one recently. I don't know. I think the type of jobs have just changed. I think when you do an editorial, you kind of, you have to know what you're doing. But I've just done one for the Evening Standard, and it's, sometimes I need help. It's not often, but
But those guys are used to commissioning illustration.
yeah,
quite a lot, aren't they? And I think maybe one of the things, especially since lockdown and COVID, is that there's more people commissioning illustration who traditionally wouldn't.
Yeah. And everybody wants to have a meeting.
Yeah. Yes.
What is that? We've had so many, and you've been hilarious when you. I don't think we actually need to do a meeting.
Yeah. I mean, well, we're kind of just saying, like, look, can you, like in a couple of years ago, could you just send us a brief, a PDF with.
And I love a
key
brief.
points?
I mean, my perfect brief is 10 words. 10 words and a folder of images.
To kind of get you started down the right
just
avenue.
like, what do you want on there? Like, Amy and I just did one, and it was, we had, I have to be careful, don't we? We had the brief, but it was just, I phoned her up afterwards and just went, what was that then?
Yeah.
And so we did the email, and it's reassuring when you guys are in on it as well, and it's not just my brain going, what's happening here?
Yeah, I don't really know where we're at with briefs, but I feel like you've really suffered this year with briefs that aren't really a brief, and you've had to just kind of go, all right, look, I'm just gonna try this, try that, and then see what the client thinks. But then it's good that you're willing to do that.
Yeah, and I've learnt to work quicker, and so my roughs used to be nearly finished. But there's nowhere bother doing that now. I just really hack it together.
Okay, so that's interesting how that's changed your process.
Because, I guess it's that thing that you're taught when you're at college. Can you do 3 roughs? And I used to be, no, I can't. I can just do this rough here, and it's going to be fine, and you're hopefully you're going to like it. But now, for the Evening Standard, last night or the night before, I just had to do 6 rough ideas and hope, but because I work with them, they kind of get what it will look like, because they are really rough.
They can make that leap. I think that's something we're seeing is some clients aren't as visually literate as others, and some can make that leap and they get what a draft is going to look like, and others just don't have faith almost.
I think the bigger the jobs we've had, they aren't used to commissioning, are they? So we've had more like the Channel 4 one, where it has to go off to all different people and then to market it. I mean, we did okay with that, didn't we? But it was that they warned us it was going to happen. But it's.
I think credit to you that there's definitely some illustrators who would not have been so willing to do the level of amends that you did.
Quick.
No, but that's good. As I say, it's a really positive thing that you're happy to kind of take a brief that's not really there, come up with your own ideas, take on feedback, just not complain, basically. Do you think that's part of the fact that you
I do complain to Gareth.
Okay. Internal.
You just keep it in-house.
But is that something is that just your temperament, or is that something you've learnt over the years, or where do you think that kind of mindset comes from?
Well, I mean, I have to answer it is a job.
Yeah.
I'm not I don't know. You can't be a diva, because nobody wants to work for an arsehole, do they? Basically, I'm doing what they want, hopefully. But we have had a few jobs where it's like, I just know it's not going to happen, and I can't.
We did.
We did, didn't we, John?
Michelle's looking at me.
I suddenly remember flashbacks.
No, we had a job.
We tried.
And I would say exactly that. I think we both had slight concerns at the start, and we flagged them, and we kind of exchanged messages and thought this might not work, and we were right.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
sometimes you know.
Sometimes you just know.
Yeah. And that's the 2 we've just done, isn't it?
But I would say even on those projects, you're always very kind of amenable, and you'll give it a go.
Yeah, because I have to answer the brief, basically. But there is a point. I did a book jacket, and book jackets are hard now, because
much harder, I think. Yeah.
There's too many people looking at it, and there's always marketing at the end, and I did one for someone I hadn't worked for years, and it just didn't work, and it's fine, kill fee. It's just not. Sometimes it's just not worth trying.
I think it gets to a point where you have to kind of agree that it's not happening. But I think you're right with book covers. We've noticed that there seems to be less emphasis on just making the art director happy.
Yeah.
More voices at the table. We've had a couple of projects where not only has the author and the marketing department had comments, but then also the retailer.
Yeah.
So it's gone the whole way through, and then a retailer has said, well, we want it to look different. So that, like you said, there's more people to please.
Really hard. And that's the good thing about editorial, because editorial's quick.
Yeah.
I've given you this. Okay.
Well, there's something great about having that ticking deadline, isn't there?
And also with the publishing, the book publishing, there's some really, really brilliant designers out. I think Anna Morrison and so there are people like that are actually doing the work themselves, that are doing the illustration. They already have the vision for it, and so I think it's hard. I mean, that used to be the dream, to do book jackets. Get a book jacket, I'm a bit like, oh god.
I think if you, I love going into kind of Waterstones or wherever and seeing I think the quality of book covers has increased hugely.
Yeah.
I guess because it's so competitive now.
But a lot of those are the designers.
And a lot of them are, like you say,
and
straight
they're
from
amazing.
designers and a really high
Jack
quality.
Flagg, I think. There's a few on Instagram, and you just see the work and just think, wow, and that's good for them.
Yeah, absolutely. So do you still do many books or less these days? Or
No, I had, I'm trying to think. No, I had one recently. Oh, I've done some for Little Brown. Oh, and we did the guy lives locally here. The punk one. Look at you both. I'm assuming you know everything I'm working on.
Too many jobs.
But
was this not in Saffron Walden?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he's
small world.
That's
nice when that happens.
Yeah, so I have worked for Little Brown lots, but obviously art directors have come and died maybe during the time we've been doing it. But he was at the school, and then we had a chat, and so that worked out well. And then someone that worked for him commissioned me as well, a book jacket on glasses. I can't even think what they're called, but yeah.
But there's a few out there in the universe.
I was going to ask, have you ever taught collage?
Yeah, so I used to teach on the foundation at Loughborough.
Okay.
But I had recently left college. I was quite young, to the point where people would say, "You're sitting in my seat."
Oh, that's a compliment.
I'm your teacher. So I did that, and then I went to Hertford University, and then once I had August, so that was 17 years ago, then I...
Would you go back to it?
No,
I think
absolutely
you'd be a really,
not.
really
No,
good
I
teacher.
did a Zoom call for, oh God, now I feel really bad, for Matt at Liverpool University. So I did my first Zoom call during lockdown and did a chat, and I said all the things, like, I'm never going to listen to this. So I said all the things I shouldn't have said, and then afterwards thought, why didn't I say that? Why didn't I say that?
Okay.
And
but
then,
so what, were you reviewing their work or just
no,
telling people about
I
your
did
work?
a talk about my work.
Right.
So
No,
I
I
did
think
a
you'd be really, really
presentation.
good at actually teaching, like collage or just art in general.
No. And then I did one for Cambridge, and that was better, but no.
Because I think you'd be really honest. You just give this kind of really honest, concise feedback, which is what people need.
Yeah.
Anyway, you're a successful illustrator, so you don't need to. That's good.
What question I had was, with regards to collage, how do you know when it's finished?
I always try to do, like with my collage work, not with commissions in cases, to do as little as possible. Because some of my commissioned work is so busy and I'm being told what to do. And when I was at Norwich, and we had a talk by Vaughan Oliver, and he said, I put this piece of paper next to this piece of paper because I wanted to. And I was like, yeah.
Profound.
Yeah. Okay. So that's what I want to do. I just want to do simple stuff. And a lot of the projects I do, I will start simple. So it will be this beautiful background with a little piece of red paper, and then I'll have to put 20 things in there, and I'll try and take some out. And so, yeah. So I I like the simple.
And do you finish a piece and then leave it and like let it breathe and come back to it with fresh eyes?
Let it get dog hairs and dust on it, and then glue it. Probably weeks later. Yeah.
Okay. And the kids have never come in and moved stuff around.
Well, you know when I was doing the work for Grazia.
Yes.
This is like, because I've had a glass of wine. Well, I was doing the sex column for Grazia, so I have to be quite careful because I had all the vintage Playboys.
Yeah, quite racy stuff.
Yeah, so I literally have to keep covering stuff up. But no, the kids only come in for food and that's it.
And your kids have featured quite often, haven't they, in your
artwork? In that computer arts one, wasn't it? Yeah, when they were smaller.
So you just signed the model release for your own child.
Yeah.
Pop them in.
And scribbles as well. Actually, the woman that brought our old house, she put a picture up of her child had done some scribbles. So I went down there and took the sketchbook and gave her a bottle of wine for all these. Because it's never quite the same if you try and do a scribble. Yeah. So I've got this sketchbook full of...
authentic, child's naive scribbles. Bought for a bottle of wine.
Yeah, perfect.
Very good. I guess final question for me is what, in 25 years, what stands out as your kind of career highlight? What was your favourite job or the most satisfying?
I think I was really pleased that I worked with Vaughan Oliver because so when we were on our degree, Robert Mason, I mean, you know, I have great respect for the people that taught me, especially Robert Mason, who was an illustrator in the 70s. And so he had taught Vaughan and he'd got Vaughan in. So we already had that connection, and then the throwing muses and all that music that we were listening to at the time. So Vaughan was doing all the CD covers for 4AD. So I think on my bio will always have like worked for Vaughan Oliver or something, you know. And he died a few years ago suddenly. So I think that's my thing, and working with the Boris, isn't it?
So
bloody Boris.
You drew. Was it for the FT?
Yeah, so it was
and it was
famous photographer Peru did the photos of Boris, and then pre
Prime Minister Boris. Yeah.
And we did the clown. So I was told what to do for that, but it always comes up.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That one's going to follow you around for a bit.
Die. Remember when Michelle did the Sunday Times of Boris?
That's the one. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Really lovely chatting to you, and thanks for hosting us.
I'll stop talking now.
No, it's been good. It's been really nice. We're going to should we go look around the antique shops now?
Yeah, we're gonna go for a walk around Saffron Walden, find some vintage magazines,
and then work out how to get back to the train station.
Yeah, but I can't drive you.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And if you'd like to know more about Handsome Frank Noratus, check out our website, handsomefrank.com. Thanks very much for listening.
Handsome Frank. Handsome Frank.